y'all? It's your girl T Michelle back here with another video, another TMT broadcast coming to you live from my studio to yours, from my studio to your living room or to your phone or wherever you watching me. So I know I'm looking crazy right now, y'all. I know. But y'all know if you an old subscriber, if you a supporter, if you a old school love bug and you've been rocking with me since I started doing this during the pandemic, then you already know what this means. Girl, y'all know that this whole segment was inspired by dating a stupid ass man. So I thank that stupid ass man because these videos actually get the most views. So I appreciate that. Well, hopefully this time around, it continues on with the views, So today's episode, let me put you on, brought to you by TMT TV. We're gonna talk about Amy Fisher, y'all. Now, if you anything of my age, you know who Amy Fisher is. But if you not, to my young love bugs out there, don't worry about it because I'm going to put you on. And while I'm putting you on, I'm going to be beating my face. All the stuff that I'm going to be using is going to be listed in the description box below. Y'all already know what we got to do. We got to jump in our time machine. Y'all, this time machine, I spent some money on this time machine. This time machine is completely different from the time machine that I have had in the past, y'all. This is completely different. This is some money. This is some bread. Some bread was dropped on this time machine. So come on, y'all. We're going to jump in our time machine right now. We're going to take ourselves back to the year of 1992. Let's get it. In 1992, y'all. So, what was going on in 1992? I had wrote down a little something, So, in 1992, Bill Clinton had just got elected to president. He beat out George Bush. I can't remember which George Bush it was that he beat out. I'm gonna put it in the description box. But he beat out George Bush. Whitney Houston had dropped "I Will Always Love You," and I remember y'all when that shit came out and how much they played that. Like you couldn't turn on MTV, VH1, BET, BET without hearing that damn song. The Bodyguard had came out and I think the Bodyguard soundtrack became one of the biggest selling soundtracks of all time. Because we love our girl Whitney, of course. Martin had premiered for the first time on TV. I think Martin used to come on Fox. If I'm correct, Martin used to come on Fox. Barney and Friends, that big ass stupid purple dinosaur that lied to us all. Lied to us all, talking about I love you, you love me. Yeah, bitch, that ain't true. But Barney premiered for the first time. Rodney King LA riots was going on. Of course, I ain't gonna say that people was wilding because that was very well warranted if you ask me. Like, I agree. I don't agree with us fucking up our own businesses. I can never be down with that. I said they should have fucked up other people's businesses. But yeah, the Rodney King riots was going on at that time. And Mae Jemison became the first Black woman to go to space. But something else happened in 1992, y'all. And it happened in, of course, my hometown. Y'all know I love to mention it. It happened in my hometown, well, my home city, New York. But it didn't really happen in New York. It happened in Massapequa. So Massapequa is like Long Island. So it's New York, but it ain't really New York. Now, I'm going to keep it a buck with y'all. When I was 16 years old, I ain't like old niggas. Like, I wasn't into old niggas. I wasn't attracted to them. I wasn't on some shit like, oh, if I get me an old nigga, he give me money, he could take care of me, he could do this, he could do that. Like, I wasn't on that. And it's crazy because even in my 40s, it's the same thing. I'm not checking for no old niggas. Like, nothing against them. They just don't do it for me because I just can't picture myself being intimate with an old nigga. Like, you like 60 something years old, you close to 60, you in your 50s or whatever. I'm in my 40s and we getting it in, and I just can't picture you being on top of me, pumping and sweating and smelling like Old Spice and smelling like Brute. And smelling like Brute and Old Spice. I don't know, y'all. It kind of turns me off. But anyway, Amy Fisher was a 16-year-old girl from Massapequa, New York. Even though she lived in Merrick, she lived in a town called Merrick, and like I said, y'all, that's Long Island. And it's not kind of, it is. It's basically middle class, like upper middle class. I'm not gonna say it ain't no rich people because they got mansions and all type of shit up there. So it is like for your upper middle class people, right? Her father was Jewish and her mother was Italian. Very wealthy family, they did all right. I forgot what her dad did, but very wealthy family. And because she came from a wealthy family, she was pretty much spoiled. She had the convertible at 16. She had beepers. She had designer clothes, all type of stuff. She was that kid in high school. Well, she was that teenager in high school that was lit. We all went to school with somebody like that. We all went to high school with somebody who was basically lit because their parents had money. Or because they was doing some shit they ain't had no business doing. But we're gonna get into that later. So for her 16th birthday, her father decided to buy her a car. He bought her a Chrysler convertible. One big problem with that, though, this girl couldn't drive. This girl couldn't drive and was forever wrecking this car. So the first time she wrecked her car, her father said, all right, well, I'll just take it to my mechanic. And he had a mechanic in a shop called Complete Auto Body. It was a family-owned business that was on Long Island. And it was owned by the Butterfucos. And one of the sons was Joey Butterfuco. Now, Joey Butterfuco Joey Butterfuco was married happily, supposedly. He was married. And he had 2 kids with his wife, Mary Jo Butterfuco. Like I said, the Complete Auto Body Shop was a family-owned business, but Mary Jo was a housewife. So she basically was at home taking care of their kids and, doing stuff that housewives do. So anyway, so they take the car. Her father takes the car to the shop, and Amy sees Joey, and Joey sees Amy. Now, at first, it didn't seem like it was like, because she was a kid. She was like 16 years old. So it didn't seem like anything crazy at first, But my guess is that after being there a couple of times, they formed some type of friendship. And y'all know how it is when you 16 years old and you got a crush. So she little by little started crushing on this dude. even though he was 35 at the time and he was married and he had 2 kids. I don't think she cared too much about that. So she started going and wrecking her car on purpose just so that she could go see him at the shop. So one particular time, she was late for school. She was late for school and in a rush to leave the house to get to school, she ended up wrecking her car. Took it to the auto shop, shows it to Joey, and Joey is like, I'll fix it, no problem. But she's like, no, my father can't know that I wrecked the car again. This was like her 3rd, 4th time wrecking the car. She's like, no, my father can't know that I wrecked the car. Joey is like, don't worry about it, I'll take care of it. Now, he fixes the car, but he fixes the car and it's taken a while. So he volunteers to take her home. And y'all, that's when the trouble started. Now, this is according to Amy. There have been like 3 different accounts of this story. So all of this stuff is basically up for interpretation because it's 3 different accounts of this story. It's what Amy says, it's what Joey says, and it's what Mary Jo says. I should say 4 because it's also what the police say. So he volunteers to take her home, and according to her, that's the first time that they had sex. Again, y'all, she's 16, he's 35. And according to Amy, they continue to have sex. According to Amy, they met up in hotels on a frequent basis to have sex, to, play boyfriend and girlfriend and basically play house and all type of fuck shit. That should no grown-ass man be doing with a 16-year-old girl. But, that's what was going on, according to her. And her feelings for him growing deeper and deeper. Now, Amy knew that this man was married. Did she care? Absolutely not. She knew that this man was married. And what do people that mess with married men do? Or anybody that messes with married people? What the fuck do? They get to the point where it's like, okay, so when you gonna leave? Because you obviously love being with me. You obviously love spending time with me and being with me. So what's going on? Like, when you leaving? And what usually happens when when a married person is questioned about leaving their spouse? And actually, now listen, y'all gotta remember that this is 1992, and I'm not saying that it didn't happen back then, but nowadays, back in 2026, y'all know in 2026, a lot of people don't mind leaving their spouses for their side chick. But then again, like I said, this is 1992. This is 1992. It's a different story. Now, Joey was Italian. He was a devout Catholic, and us Catholics don't believe in divorce. Take it from me because, yes, I am a Catholic, and we don't believe in divorce. So, Joey is like, shorty, you bugging. Ain't nobody said that I was ever going to leave my wife. I'm not leaving my wife. So Amy is quiet about it at first. Like, all right, he said he ain't leaving his wife. Whatever. I bet you I can convince him to leave his wife. Can I just say something, y'all, real quick? You can't convince nobody to leave nobody. Anybody that's out there right now that's watching me and you are in a threesome, you are in a threesome and you think that you got it like that, and this nigga love me. I could make him leave. If he didn't love me, why wouldn't he spend time with me? Why would he be spending all his time with me? If he loved me, he's just scared. He's scared, girl. He's spending time with you is because he like fucking you. Hello? Like, I hate to be blunt, but it's true. He's spending all his time with you because he like fucking you. And he ain't got to work that hard to fuck you. Now, Joey is a predator. Joseph Butterfugo, let's call it what it is, was a predator. Because you shouldn't have even been in proximity long enough for a 16-year-old girl to catch feelings for you, let alone have sex with you. But I digress. Like I said, Amy in her head is thinking to herself, I can make him leave his wife. It's no big deal or whatever like that. You know, I know I can make him leave his wife. Well, she was wrong because Joey was like, shorty, I'm not leaving my wife. And he starts to distance himself from her. So then she comes up with this bright idea. I know how I can get him to leave his wife. I'll kill her. I'll kill her. If she not there, I ain't got nothing to worry about. No wife. I can have him all to myself. So Amy, now let me tell y'all something. Amy was not no innocent teenager. This girl was out and about doing all type of shit. She was an escort. She had a job as an escort. She was out and about. She surrounded herself with grown ass men. She surrounded herself with people that were older than her. You know, I'm not sure how she was in school, but I'm sure that she barely went. If I remember reading correctly, I think she barely went to school. But anyway, you know, she wasn't no innocent. Even before this happened, she wasn't an innocent teenager, like that's a very nice girl. No, she wasn't that. So with this idea in her head, she starts asking around and asking different people within those types of circles if anybody had a gun. If anybody had a gun, if anybody knew somebody that she could hire to take this lady out for her. And she met this guy, a friend, who became a friend, but he was basically a friend of a friend. She met through another friend. And she met this guy named Steven, what's his name? Steven Sleeman. She meets Steven Sleeman. Like I said, he was a friend of a friend. She met him through another friend. And at first, she's like, okay, I'm going to pay you this money and I need you to spy on her. I need you to basically stalk her. I want to know what she does from day in to day out. I want to know what time, she takes the kids to school, what time the kids leave the house, what time Joey leaves the house. Like, I want you to watch so that I know when she's by herself. That was initially what she asked him to do. Now, Steven said he thought that she was cute. He thought that Amy was cute. And like I said, y'all, she was an escort. So she was promising him money and she was promising him sex. Like, well, if you do this for me, I'll give you some pussy. Do this little 1-2 for me and I'll give you some pussy. Like, no big deal. And what do all teenage boys want to do? All teenage boys are thinking about getting their dick wet. So, of course, he said yes. But Steven said he never initially thought that she was serious about killing her. Like, he was like, okay, I knew that she wanted me to watch her and all type of stuff like that, but I never really took her serious when she was like, yeah, I need you to watch her and then I'm a plot to kill her. He never took that serious. So Steven had a rifle. He had a rifle and Amy knew that he had a rifle. So there was a first attempt. Yes, y'all, there was more than one attempt on this lady's life. So the first attempt, Amy is like, all right, you done did the stakeout, you done watched her place and all type of stuff like that. All right, I pretty much got what this lady does on a day-to-day down pack. I basically got my time together. So the plan was Amy was gonna dress up like a nice little schoolgirl, knock on this lady's door and tell her that, oh, I'm selling candy. Would you like to buy some candy? Amy is supposed to have this lady come out of the house. And when she comes out of the house, Steven is supposed to shoot her. And that was it. So that was the plan, y'all. That was the plan. That was the first attempt. That was the plan. They go to the house. Amy dresses up like the nice little, teenage girl. Hello, ma'am. I'm selling candy. Would you like to buy some? And Mrs. Butterfuco, housewife. She a housewife, sitting at home all day. I'm not going to say she does nothing, but sits at home. Sure, I would love to buy some. Goes inside to get her purse. Steven is waiting in the bushes. So Amy is like, all right, I'm going to get her to step outside. When she steps outside, shoot her. Mary Jo comes out. And Steven doesn't shoot. Mary steps outside. And Steven doesn't shoot. Amy is sitting there pleading with this lady. One more. Because she bought one. Like, all right, well, can you buy one more? Like, it's for a good cause. Please buy one more. Da-da-da-da-da. Trying to keep this lady out. Steven in the bushes. Steven is sitting there. He ain't shooting shit. He's sitting there like, I ain't doing this bullshit. And Steven said that's when he realized she really serious. She wants me to kill this lady. She really wants to shoot this lady. So now Amy is pissed off. She like, nigga, I done paid you money. I done fucked you. And you ain't doing what I'm asking you to fucking do. Why you ain't shoot this bitch? Steven is like, oh, well, I couldn't get a clear shot on her. That's why I didn't shoot her. Because I couldn't get a clear shot on her. She like, nigga, you ain't off the hook. We gonna go back there. You gonna try it again. Like, who the fuck? Like, I ain't paid you all this money for you to, not do what I asked you to do. So, around Thanksgiving, like maybe a day or two before Thanksgiving, they go back to the Butterfuco's house. They go back. This time Steven is in his car, Amy is in her car. Amy is parked down the street. So Steven is like, he didn't want to do it. He didn't want to do it. But it's like, Amy is like, nah, nigga, I paid you this money and I'm fucking you. Like, you gonna have to do what I'm asking you to do. I paid you this money and I'm fucking you. He said I had to do something. So he took the rifle and he shot 2 shots at the house. And drove off. Lucky for him, nobody was hurt. But Amy knew that he missed. Amy knew that he ain't bust no shots at nobody. So finally, she's like, you know what? This is some bullshit. You want some shit done, you gotta do some shit yourself. She gets in contact with another friend. She knew just a whole bunch of degenerate ass people. A dude named Peter Guagenti. And I believe it was the same type of arrangement. Like, yeah, I pay you for this gun. I give you some pussy. And you drive me over there and you my getaway car. Give me a gun. I give you money. I give you pussy. You drive me over there. You basically my getaway car. Deal? Deal. So May 19th, 1992. Peter Guagenti and Amy Fisher drive over to these people's house. Again. This time, Amy ain't on no bullshit. She like, fuck that pretending shit. I'm gonna let her know what it is. So this time she go over there, knocks on the door, and Mrs. Butterfuco comes out and she's like, yes, are you married, Joe Butterfuco? And she said, yes, I am. She said, I gotta talk to you about your husband. So Mary Jo said she was like confused, but was like, all right, excuse me. She steps outside and she's like, I just want to let you know that your husband is having an affair with my little sister. So Mary Jo was like, bitch. She like, your little sister. Mary Jo said this girl looked young. She looked like 12. So she's like, your little sister. Well, how old are you? And she said that Amy said, I'm 19. And she said, and my sister is 16. And it's disgusting that this grown ass man is sleeping with my little sister. Of course, when somebody comes to your door with that type of information, you're going to ask a whole bunch of questions. So she's like, where you live at? Where you stay at? And she said that Amy said that she lived in some part of the city. And she pointed and she said, oh, I live over there, and named wherever she was living at. But that wasn't the direction that the place was at. So say like for example, you ask me where you stay at, where you from, or there. Say you ask me where you live at, and I say, oh, I'm from Brooklyn, but Brooklyn is over here. That's basically what she did. So she was like, when she did that, I'm like, yeah, she full of shit. She's like, I don't think you telling the truth. I think that you lying. So that's when Amy is like, oh, I got proof. And she pulls out the complete auto body t-shirt and gives it to her. Like, look, I got proof. I found this in her bed. I was cleaning her room and I found this in her bed. Now y'all know, because I said the same thing. Mary Jo said the same thing I said when I heard that. Now y'all, I grew up in a house where it was me and my sister. And granted, we had shared a room, but you cleaning your sister's room? Your sister can't clean her own room? So she's like, look, I got proof or whatever. I found this in my sister's bed when I was cleaning her room. So Mary is like, oh, so you clean your sister's room now? And she's like, and as far as this doesn't prove anything because everybody in Long Island has this shirt because everybody in Long Island goes to Complete Auto Body for they for they mechanical shit. So she's by this time, Amy's getting mad. Like, I'm telling her, and this bitch ain't listening to me. She said she turned around to go inside the house, and the next thing she felt was like a big hit. It felt like somebody had hit her like on the side of her face. And she said her first thought was, where the fuck did this bitch get a bat from? I didn't even see no bat with her. Like, where'd she get a bat from? Amy shot her in the face. She shot her right by her ear. And Mary Jo said that she believes the only reason why she got shot in the place that she got shot is because she turned away from her. But she said, if I had looked at her, she would have shot me directly in my face. But because I turned, the bullet hit this side by her ear. So she turns around as a reaction and falls into Amy's arms, and Amy throws her on the floor, and then she runs off into the night like, you know, like the degenerate that she is, shooting people's wives. So Amy flees the scene, and now the neighbors are starting to come out like, what the fuck was that? What sound was that? Or whatever. Because, you know, everybody, it's a close-knit neighborhood. Everybody knows everybody else. So it's a close-knit neighborhood. Everybody coming out like, what the fuck was that? Like, what sound was that? And they come and they find Mary Jo in a pool of blood on her back porch. So police come, police are involved. And of course, the big question everybody want to know, who did this? Who would shoot a housewife? Like, she don't do nothing to nobody. Who would shoot a housewife? So Mary's in the hospital. Took a while. You know, she had to have surgeries and stuff. They couldn't remove the bullet. The bullet is still in her head. So now she's starting to gain consciousness after weeks or whatever. She's starting to gain consciousness. And the cops see that she's awake. So now it's like, nah, we got to know who did this. Like, you got to tell us who did this. Like, tell us what you know, what you remember. She couldn't talk. She couldn't speak. So she signaled to the officers or whatever, give me a pen. I'll write it down. So they're asking her, who shot you? Now, let's go back a little bit. When they're at the door, when they're at the back porch and they're talking, and, you know, Amy is telling her, oh, your husband is sleeping with my little sister, and da-da-da-da-da, and it's disgusting that he's sleeping with a 16-year-old, and I just thought that you should know that your husband is disgusting, da-da-da-da, and she's asking her, like, where are you from? What's your name? When she asked her what her name was, she said Anne Marie. So when the cops ask her, who shot you? She writes on a piece of paper, Anne Marie. Mind you, Joey is there this whole time. So now he's looking and he's like, Anne Marie. And they like, do you know somebody named Anne Marie? She points at Joey. And Joey is like, she said, does she know me? And then she writes down complete auto body shirt or complete auto body or whatever she wrote down. So he's like, I gave her a complete auto body shirt. And that's when Joey is like, oh shit. I only gave that shirt to one person. And the cops was like, well, who'd you give the shirt to? He's like, I gave the shirt to Mr. Fisher's daughter. And so they were like, well, who the fuck is Mr. Fisher's daughter? Who is this? He's like, oh, you know, it's one of my customers. He comes in all the time to get his car done. And he comes in a lot with his daughter. I fix his daughter's car a lot. Now, this is what the police said. The police said that Joey admitted that he had an affair with Amy, that he slept with her, that he had sex with her. Joey said he ain't never admit that shit. But he admitted to something because they was like, all right, well, now that we know who's responsible for this, how the fuck do we get her? The only way we can get her is through Joey. So Joey, you know, this is back in the day when there was pages and stuff like that. So they had codes. And Amy's code for Joey or Joey's code for Amy or whatever the fuck. I don't remember, y'all, because I didn't have a pager. My sister had a pager, but I didn't have a pager. But anyway, their code was 007. And she knew that if he beeped her 007, yo, come and meet me over here or call me or whatever like that. So he beeps her 007. He beeps her 007 and she calls him back and he tells her, oh, meet me at some random ass place. And y'all know she ran because now, you know, she feeling herself. Now she, you know, like, yo, I killed this bitch. Now my man is my man. My man. So she goes and she runs out the house to go and meet him, whatever. And of course the cops grab her up like, all right, we're going in there. So now she's caught. And she's basically telling it all. She's basically saying, listen, me and Joey, we're in love. We wanted to be together. He knew I was going to shoot at his wife. He knew that I was going to kill her. He was cool with me doing it. He didn't have no problem with it. And that's what it is. So that's what I did. Joey is calling her a liar. Of course, Joey is denying everything. I didn't touch that girl. I'm not this. I'm not that. Blah, 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 blah. Now, unfortunately, Mary Jo, remember I told y'all that they couldn't get the bullet out. The bullet is still in her skull. But not only is the bullet still in her skull, but she became deaf in one of her ears and she became paralyzed on one side of her face. So now we're at the trial. Fast forward to the trial. And Amy is basically playing this up like Big Bad Wolf Joey. Big Bad Wolf Joey. He told me he loved me. He took advantage of me. Y'all want to know how I became an escort? It's because of him. He introduced me to these people. Amy said that the man took her on his yacht. Not his yacht, his boat. Because he had a boat. He took me on his boat. We used to get hotel rooms and have sex for days. And we did it. He knew that I was going to shoot his wife. He knew what was up. And he acted stupid. But he knew I was going to shoot his wife. Mary Jo. Mary Jo. This is what pissed me off about her. Is because I understand the whole stand by your man thing. I understand y'all. Like, I get it. You know? All right. That's cute. But let me find out. Like, let me find out. It's too much of a coincidence. How she know that you got a boat? How she know all this stuff? Like, I would really just be like, well, how she know? How she know all this stuff if you didn't even have that type of relationship with her? But even still, Mary Jo is stand by your man. And that's what she did. She stood by her man.
A lot of women with bullets in the head wouldn't forgive Joey Butterfilk. But what's your reaction?
They don't know Joey Butterfilk. I love this guy. I forgive him for anything that might have happened. I know that what went on had nothing to do with me getting shot in the head.
So, Amy is saying, you know, I didn't mean to shoot her. She pissed me off. Like, I'm telling her what was going on. She pissed me off. And I went to hit her with the gun. And when I hit her with the gun went off and shot her in the face. The judge didn't believe that shit. And y'all, if y'all go back and watch old footage of that trial, and how her lawyer, how she was all hugged up on her lawyer and all type of stuff. It was very weird. Like, it was very inappropriate if you ask me. Because this girl she was 16 she was 17 by then. By then she was 17. But it was still just like the way he was hugging her and holding her and cradling her. Like, you know, like she ain't did nothing wrong. Like, she really didn't just try to kill somebody. So her, as they should, you know, because it's the defense attorney, they're trying to paint her as, you know, the victim and, you know, the poor 16-year-old girl that fell in love with a married man and he's older and she didn't know what she was doing and all this other bullshit. The media, the media will do it every single time. Now, y'all, back in the day, and I know because I was around, back in the day, in 1992, y'all see how there's a such thing as TMZ now, TMZ Live and all type of stuff, TMZ. Every time something breaks, it's TMZ. Well, back in the day, it was a current affair. If anybody was involved in some shit, they was on a current affair. Like, they was going to do a interview with a current affair, or a current affair had like some footage of some shit that was going on. Now, I don't know if a current affair was just a New York thing, or if that was all around. But I remember watching a current affair and they always had some slick shit going on or whatever like that. So a current affair had came out with some footage of Amy working as an escort. So that got out and it was just like, this girl is not as innocent as her attorneys are trying to make her look. She sells her body. And then I think they had footage of her and an ex-boyfriend. They broke up. Her and the boy broke up, and he went and basically released audio of her admitting, yeah, I shot her and I wanted to shoot her and I hope she dies and all type of stuff like that. Girl, After that, it was a wrap. After the jury saw that, it was a wrap. It's like, girl, who you trying to fool? We ain't stupid over here. I think the trial started in September. So around October, you know, with all the stuff that was coming out and all the evidence that they had, you know, Joey was denying that he ever had an affair with her. But Amy knew what hotels they used to go to. So the police went to the hotels and got receipts from every single time he was in the hotel with her. They had his signature on receipts that, yeah, he was in this hotel. Now, you a married man. What you doing in the hotel? You ain't no businessman. You fix cars. You a mechanic. What you doing in the hotel? So that was evidence. That was proof. So they ended up charging Joey with statutory rape, and he ended up having to do 6 months in jail. That wasn't, well, he got sentenced to 6 months and he got out in less than 5. Let me just say that's what it was. He got convicted of statutory rape. He got sentenced to 6 months and he got out in less than 5. Now, Amy, on the other hand, she took a plea. She took a plea for first-degree assault, which of course did not sit right with Mary Jo, because it's like, I got a bullet in my head. This chick tried to kill me. Y'all talking about assault? First-degree assault? December 2nd, she got convicted of first-degree assault, and she got sentenced to 5 to 15 years. She got out in 7. She got out in 7. I don't know why, y'all. It might have been for good behavior. Who the fuck knows? But I remember when she got released, because that was big headline news that she was coming out. And she was granted parole in 1999. They claim that they released her because she wasn't represented the right way by her attorney. Girl, you should have been booked on attempted murder, and you got booked for first-degree assault. You were sentenced to 5 to 15 years, and you got out in 7. I think that your lawyers did a very good job, but the judge had found it that she was misrepresented by her lawyers. And she remained on parole until 2003, and then she got off parole. All right, y'all. So we could go back to 2026, and I could tell you, you know, the aftermath. Let's get it. Y'all, I just, listen, I never, and maybe it's me, maybe I haven't lived life. You know? Maybe I haven't lived life and I haven't loved the way I should love. Cause I ain't never been with no dude that made me say, if he fuck with somebody else or if he with somebody else and he talking to me, that I want to get rid of this chick because I want him with me. I ain't never been with a dude that made me want to go shoot somebody. Like, I don't know. And I think personally, the only person that got some sense through this whole thing is Mary Jo. Because she didn't have no sense in the beginning. She made me upset in the beginning because it's like, lady, listen, Joey wasn't perfect. Like, and ain't nobody perfect. But Joey wasn't always a good husband. I think Joey was on cocaine at like the beginning of their marriage. But you know, to her credit, they met when I think they was in 9th grade. But they met young. This wasn't her high school sweetheart. This was like her junior high school sweetheart. So I mean, I get it. I understand. I get it. But like I said, at one point in time, he was on cocaine. At another time, he was in jail. He had been arrested a couple of times, and he was in jail. You know, when they got married, when they had their first kid, you know, type of stuff. You know, he wasn't no motherfucking walk in the park. So this shouldn't have surprised her. Like, oh, he cheating on me. It's, you know, forget it's bad enough it's with a 16-year-old, but that wouldn't even surprise me if somebody showed up to my door like, oh, yo, your husband is sleeping with my sister or whatever like that. But you know, throughout that whole trial, she stood by her man. She stood by her man. Amy was a liar. Amy was delusional. And I think she wrote a letter to the judge too at one point in time. So let's talk about the aftermath, y'all. So in 2003, like I said, y'all, Mary Jo was like the only person that got some sense throughout this whole thing. In 2003, she filed for divorce from Joey, and they ended up getting a divorce. Now, before 2003, after Amy got released, I remember they had went on ETV, Entertainment Tonight. I think that was the name of the show at the time, and it was all three of them. It was all three of them. It was all three of them, and you know, Mary was kind of coming off as you know, I understand she was a kid at the time, and Amy was apologetic to Mary. She was apologetic to Mary, but she was saying like, listen, I was a kid and your husband took advantage of me.
Satisfied with the way that this is turned out.
One thing that I never got from him was, since you like the public so much, a public apology for having sex with me and using me when I was a kid. Okay? You never did that, and I don't think you ever will do that. So, you know, no, I didn't get anything from him.
Finished with this nonsense. It's nonsense.
Joey flipped his shit. Joey flipped his shit throughout that whole interaction, calling her a liar, saying that she got mental issues, that she's crazy, and she's this, and she that, and he ended up walking off the set at one point, or whatever like that. Then, they get a divorce, and then fast forward to 2006, these motherfuckers go back on Entertainment Tonight without Mary Jo, and they together.
For the record, are you guys back together romantically?
We are.
We are.
We are.
You look really happy.
I'm happy. You happy?
I'm happy.
Before I met you.
And they together. They are in front of the cameras kissing and hugging, and she's talking about he's the love of my life, and he's talking about this is my baby and this is my boo. Y'all, if I was Mary Jo, my ass would have been in jail next. It's like he been in jail, she been in jail. Now it's my turn, because that would have just cemented it for me. Like, so maybe you did try to get this bitch to shoot me so that you could go ahead and be with her. Because look at y'all. Now, granted, y'all, that shit didn't last. That shit, and some people say that it was just for publicity or whatever like that. But they went back on that damn Entertainment Tonight, and they was all booed up in 2006. But anyway, that fell apart, and he went back to calling her crazy, and he went back to calling her a nut. She went back to calling him a pedophile, and all type of stuff like that. And then she ended up getting married to a guy and ended up doing porn, releasing all these porn videos. And then she ended up divorcing that husband. And to this day, you know, she's still doing porn. She wrote a couple of books. I think she wrote like 2 books. You know, she's still doing porn. Joey is remarried with his new wife. Forgot her name. Doesn't even matter. Nobody cares. And Mary Jo did get remarried, but then she got divorced. And then in 2006, I believe, the same year that fuck shit went on, she went to a doctor, and the doctor was able to fix her face a little bit, you know, because half of her face was paralyzed. He was able to fix a little bit of the nerve damage in her face. So, you know, she was good. But yeah, y'all, that's basically it. That's basically it, y'all. That shit is crazy. That story will always, like, bug me out because, like I said, John, I ain't never been with a man, and I ain't never been with a dude that made me want to go to jail for the rest of my life. That made me be like, if something was to happen where we can't be together, I'm going to go and kill people. Like, anyway, y'all, like, comment, subscribe if you like this video. I got a few more topics for y'all, a few more stories to tell y'all about, you know. We'll see how things go. Let me know how you feeling the new background, and let me know how y'all like the new spaceship. Let me know how y'all like the new time machine. you know? And I'll catch y'all in the next one. Peace!
Hostile takeover, you better learn it. The queen is here to stay, the game is over, yeah, she earned it. The queen is here to stay, the game is over, yeah, she earned it. That's Tracy Michelle, putting the whole city down. The queen is here to stay, the game is over, yeah, she earned it. Tracy Michelle.